seeing in Africa to make you so upbeat and optimistic about its future?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question, Peter. Obviously, you've noticed that we've been in constant communication over the past, at least the past year. Africa is the latest frontier of the emerging market. So what that means for us is the largest untapped business opportunity that fit in our portfolio of business sits in Africa. Whether you're talking about mineral extraction or infrastructure development or power generation, those in Africa, we have those opportunities in abundance. So we do see Africa as really the latest area where we need to focus and build capability to go after growth opportunities.
And you've got no issues about low growth?
Well, low growth is in perspective. You know, if I tell you all these opportunities, really, they don't come as low growth. And we have to also realize that in Africa, things are not going to happen like in mature market. If you take the telecom business, for instance, you know, the growth in Africa was stratospheric simply because the landline were not as many. And when people could access, we could leapfrog the growth of traditional businesses to go a little faster. So I don't necessarily think it's low growth. I think the potential, with the potential we're talking about, it could be significantly big.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to move on to the service side of your offering. I mean, you supply the engines to a host of OEMs, and they are all over Africa. Mm-hmm. Service must be a very important part of your offering and something that's very important to get right.
Correct. Yeah, you're right. And definitely service is at the key of our ability to deliver our brand promise, Peter. You know, we do design, manufacture, and distribute premium product. And these products are capital goods, you know, so they're supposed to live multi-year over a certain number of cycles. And for us to deliver this reliability promise, we need the good ability to provide service. You know, and this service comes in different forms. It could be field service intervention, it could be major repair in small workshop, or it could be complete overhaul in the infrastructure like our Master Rebuild Center. So the key to our ability to capture the growth we're anticipating in Africa is first our ability to build the service capability that will go with that.
Thank you. And your South African link there is through obviously the regional distribution center, which is rooted here, but also the Master Rebuild Centers, eh?
Correct. The MRC or Master Rebuild Center is really it's sort of like think of an engine manufacturing plant, quite frankly, because that's how complex the processes in the MRC are. Except that here we're not building new engine with components that we put together. What we do here is we bring engine, this mostly high horsepower engine that is from 19 liter above. Yeah. You know, so from our customers, so when an equipment, let's say QSK60 engine, comes to the end of its life, about 20 to 25,000 hours in a whole truck, we bring that in the rebuild center, we tear it down, and then we change all the dynamic components based on the tear and wear analysis, and then we rebuild the engine on the same block and test it and give it to the customer this is a certified 0-hour engine.
0 hours?
Yes, we guarantee it as new. Because after we have rebuilt it completely, we now dyno test it and make sure that it's performing as intended in the truck, and then we deliver it back to the customer.
And that's available to customers anywhere in Africa?
For now, our Southern Africa Rebuild Center, the Johannesburg Master Rebuild, serve mostly the Southern Africa region, which is my territory. So from Angola all the way to Zambia and then all the way down south. The real challenge is a logistic challenge. Yeah. You know, we're also working in Morocco, in Casablanca, Morocco, to deploy another Master Rebuild Center there. Okay. That would much effectively serve West Africa and Northern Africa region.
Okay, thank you. You talked about logistics just there.
Yeah.
I know sometimes doing business in Africa is not easy. Getting engines across borders and delivery. Short lead times, sometimes the paperwork can get excessive. Have you got anything that you'd like to suggest about making this process easier?
Well, Peter, obviously, in the business, when you do business across border, and for us, our kind of representation here, based on volume spread, obviously, we need to, certain infrastructure, certain offices, we we can replicate in every country where we have a couple of engines. So it will make sense for us to have regional hub, like what we have in Johannesburg, South Africa, for the Southern Africa region. But to your point, what will really help us is if countries will really move toward real free trade arrangements, which are like regional bloc, which will be borderless, so that we can have free movement of people and goods. And that will help us, quite frankly, in our ability to meet lead time, in our ability to tap into more market and move people and train more people. So I think free trade, and maybe I'm stepping onto in that arena, but really to illustrate the fact that, you know, as business, we move to compound this country for density, for a critical mass. I think it will help if government were also to align with real free trade arrangement that really materialize into ease of movement of goods.
That's a nice vision, sort of following the European trend almost, where it's almost borderless.
Absolutely, like you have 27 countries in Europe that have a single border. You know, so it's for, I mean, the illustration is, you know, check how many days it will take a truck to leave from Lusaka to Johannesburg and compare that to what it takes from maybe Vienna to Madrid. You know, so it's probably distance comparable, but it's much shorter for them because it's a borderless trip, you know, so that's smooth. But over here, you need to stop at the border, even though SADC region, to be fair, in Africa is one of probably the most integrated region. There is no visa requirement for people, but for goods, it's not that smooth. So sometimes we have our engine or our goods stop at the border for a couple of days, either because of the logistic flow, the capacity at the border to control or to, you know, to inspect or what have you. But in Europe, for instance, you don't have that, and I think that's an advantage.
Excellent. Okay. Now I know you've just turned some ground at the Waterfall Mall. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you've obviously got some expansive visions in the very near future as well, eh?
Yeah, definitely. I can be more proud, Peter. You know, we broke ground just last week on Thursday for what will be our Southern Africa, the new Southern Africa consolidated campus. What you'll find there is we're going to be consolidating our distribution business headquarters, what's currently the Kelvin office, as well as our Long Meadow branch, which is really the Johannesburg-based branch to support Limpopo and Gauteng province in the same facility, as well as our Africa Learning Center. It's the technical training center just across the road, Impala Road from here, and our new Master Review Center. So moving to this new state-of-the-art facility has several benefits. The first is offering our employee, you know, a world-class facility to work in, where we'll be implementing things like open floor space. You know, you have a treadmill at work where people can be building a spreadsheet while, you know, working out. You have a, you know, very collaborative work environment. What that's going to do is help us build a better work environment for our people, but also really deliver to our employee the brand. You know, people know Cummins to be a global premium brand. But, you know, quite frankly, in terms of our facility, we've not yet shown that to our employee in this particular area. So that will do that. The other thing it's going to do is really give us, it offers us a more easy way to engage with customers. Some of our customers during the same day have to go and meet Cummins teams in Long Meadow and then come to Kelvin and maybe go to the MRC, and that time you can be saved to augment engagement. You know, and finally, if you look at that Waterfall region, not only is it going to be one of the best business hubs in the Johannesburg area, but it's a couple of miles from the Buccleuch interchange, which I think is one of the busiest crossroads in the whole South Africa. From that interchange, you can hit straight to Durban or to Cape Town or to Pretoria, Polokwane, or to Johannesburg downtown. I think from a logistics standpoint, for ease of our supplier, customer to come to us, and for our employee and sales team to move across the country, it gives us a unique advantage.
Ideal opportunity.
The
investment, Thierry, do you want to tell us how much you're spending on this?
Sure, absolutely. Obviously, we're bringing world-class equipment, we bring in tools and a lot of new gigs here that we've not had in Africa before. And so it's over the 10-year from now, it's going to be about a 300 million rand investment.
300 million over 10 years.
Yes.
That's commitment.
It's significant. Peter, as I told you before, in Africa, Cummins taken a long-term view. And to take a long-term view, we need to demonstrate, to send this significant signal to our customer that we will be there. So this is going to build customer loyalty, and with loyalty is going to come more business. Also to our employee, that we really mean business when we talk about being a global brand, a premium brand. So with a world-class facility, we think we're going to hire the best and the brightest in South Africa. And with the best and the brightest, that means better service to our customer and more business from our customer. So it's really it's a clear statement. And to the government, we're going to demonstrate that we're serious in South Africa. We're investing for the long term. So we would like to be considered serious.
Chiripimi, thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Nice to have you.